It's my pleasure to introduce our key conversation, a policymaker's perspective, and ask Supervisor Márquez and Monica Kirkland, our moderator, to take the stage. Our key conversation will be moderated by my colleague at Senior Services Coalition, Monica Kirkland, who's our state policy director. Monica has over 15 years of active involvement in the Northern California community, and her background in organizational leadership, community engagement, government relations, and ministry have equipped her to elevate the voices of older adults and those who serve them and drive meaningful change. And Monica, I will hand the floor to you and give you a chance to introduce the supervisor.
Awesome. Thank you, Wendy. Glad to be here this morning with everyone. So we're going to really dive into and explore how one policymaker is preparing for a changed policy environment in 2025. And it's both an honor, I would say, and a privilege to have the opportunity to have this conversation with our Alameda County Supervisor, Elisa Márquez. Yes. And we'll get to hear your perspective on how state and local fiscal realities matter to protect programs and communities, and what opportunities she sees to align to protect and improve health outcomes for older adults in Alameda County. And most of you probably do know her, but we couldn't go without sharing a little bit more about her. So our Alameda County Supervisor, Elisa Márquez, is a lifelong resident of District 2 and proudly represents the communities of Hayward, Newark, Union City, and portions of Fremont. In her time as supervisor, Elisa has worked diligently to address vital issues such as public safety, access to affordable housing, and ending homelessness. She's proud to have led a coalition of community leaders, awesome, and residents across District 2 in an 18-month-long journey to protect St. Rose Hospital. And with the community's advocacy, the hospital itself is now an affiliate of Alameda Health System, which is awesome, right? That is definitely worth the applause. So without further ado, so with this recent election and anticipated changes that really could impact the older adults of Alameda County, really, how is this landing with you?
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Monica, for the question. And thank you, Wendy and the Senior Services Coalition for convening this very important community gathering. I'm just excited to be here, right? I just want to express to everyone that it's so important that we step into our power, our collective organizing, and meet the moment. We should not be in panic because we have the greatest minds in the room and the experts. They know how to meet the needs of our community. So I feel strongly, collectively, we'll continue to do that. Just to give a little bit of my background, I wouldn't be here today without my 4 grandparents and 2 great-grandmothers. I feel very honored that I knew all of them, and they really had an amazing impact in my life. So it's just really grounded the work that I've done in the community. I've actually worked as a care manager here in the city of Oakland. I worked for the Linkages program, the MSSP program. I worked in Santa Clara County as a care manager, also with Linkages. Also had the privilege of working for almost a year in San Bernardino County, also for Linkages. So I have a regional perspective of what the needs are for our elder community members. And it's just really important that I bring that personal experience. I'm also a respite caregiver. Wow. So all of the decisions that we make, I've been intimately involved in, whether it's a family member, a direct impact, or just the community. So I think it's really important that we focus on our professional experience and to not be in fear. You know, we heard a lot of threats, and this county is mobilizing to address those threats. And so I'm really looking forward to the county having a response to make sure that there's minimal impacts to the elders in our community. And I just refuse to be intimidated and live in fear. Ooh. So I am ready to respond and meet the moment. And you shared, you know, one of the things that I'm most proud of is the coalition that rallied around Saving St. Rose Hospital. That hospital receives an average of over 28,000 emergency room patients per year. And it took my colleagues on the Board of Supervisors. I see Supervisor Nate Miley here. Thank you for your partnership and leadership in Saving St. Rose Hospital. We also share the stories. Yes, let's give them a round of applause. We also heard stories from elders in our community, patients, that St. Rose had a role in basically saving their life. So It's really important. It demonstrates when we work collectively what we can accomplish. We also had our former mayor of Union City, Mayor Carol DiGiovanacci, give very powerful testimony, not only her husband, but her father also. He was impacted by being able to access St. Rose Hospital. So this is just one example of when we know of an issue and we come together and we problem solve, that we can find a path forward. So just really excited about that opportunity. Want to give a huge shout out to Alameda Health System for going through the process of affiliating with St. Rose. And just know that it's not going to be a health desert in Southern Alameda County, that we will protect that safety net hospital. So it's just having a very forward-thinking, proactive, and solution-minded approach to tackle anything that comes our way.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So diving in, we have a few things going on here in California. So how would you say the governor's budget proposal and the county's fiscal status stymie or support efforts to bolster programs and services for older adults? And I want to also add, because we did recently have the fires in LA, that does play a factor. I think about a day or two ago, the governor signed a $2.5 billion wildlife relief fund to go to LA County. So that also is inclusive of some funds. So how would you say that either stymies or support where we're at right now?
Well, first, I want to thank the Senior Services Coalition. You do an amazing job of always providing analysis for us, fiscally, what's happening, your leadership. We had issues with the budget last year. You mobilized, you brought them to our attention, and we were able to address that. So I think it's just a matter of sharing that information, that level of expertise. I think as a policymaker, my commitment is to be open and accessible and problem solve around those issues. So I'm committed to figuring out how we're going to address that, should there be any potential financial threats to the county.
Awesome. Thank you. And what threats do you see coming, and how are you preparing to protect the programs and services that older adults and their families rely on? Like, what opportunities do you see at this time?
I think just staying engaged with our office. We're going to be going through budget work sessions in April. So I would encourage those that are interested in the county budget to log on to our website. It's budget.alamedacountca.gov. So as Kevin mentioned earlier, mobilize, send us letters, schedule meetings with your board of supervisors, or if there are any concerns with potential cuts, please advocate to make sure we protect them. And I like the message of don't assume, even if you're an ally, that things are good. It's always good to check in and give us reminders and let us know what the priorities are, because you guys are providing the direct service to our elders. So what the needs are. So please share that information with us.
That's helpful. Don't assume. Oh, that's right. All right. That's excellent. And what plans do you have to maintain or improve capacity and ensure continuity of care for older adults?
Just being available. One thing that I really love about my job, had the pleasure of attending the Fremont Age Well Center on Wednesday morning for their breakfast. I've gone to Union City, Hayward, just really making myself open and accessible, and using our aging commissioners to also give us feedback, and the Senior Services Coalition. So really knowing what the issues are, getting ahead of them, and being proactive.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And then focusing on the housing and homelessness crisis, how can we protect the gains that have been made in recent years in addressing older adults at risk of displacement or experiencing homelessness?
Yeah, I think we really need to advocate with our local cities. When I was on the Hayward City Council, prior to that, I was actually on the Planning Commission. And one of the things I was really proud of is addressing the issues of aging in place and universal design. So making sure that that's a priority in every city. I know there's a lot of people here that have worked really hard on our Measure A1 housing bond. I think that's something we're looking at renewing. So that's a way to protect housing. I'm also a huge supporter of shallow subsidies to make sure we prevent seniors from being displaced. So basically everything's on the table. And I would like to see on a regional level that we really look at the cities that are not doing their part, and basically, demanding that they need to step up. Because in Hayward, when we put in just cause tenant protections, rent stabilizations. We've approved affordable housing.
Yeah.
I was really in support of the inclusionary housing fees, not only identifying units to be built, but also collecting the revenue to go into our housing trust, which was key in order to draw down dollars from our regional housing bond, right?
Right.
So Hayward's doing it right. We need every city to model that. And I think it was in 2021, 22, our unsheltered population went down by 22%.
Wow.
Because of those efforts.
That's yeah.
It has since gone up, but I think that's just because regionally, everyone's not doing their part, right? So if every city was playing that active role, I'm confident that we could see every elder housed in our county.
We have one last question. And so if you guys do have questions, if you can go ahead and start writing those if you haven't already. But before I did that, I just wanted to ask you, now this is an extra question, but it's more of a personal. One of the things my mentor always says is, don't let the outside get on the inside. And there was a lot of things going on, a lot of upheaval, uncertainty. And she says, keep the main thing the main thing. And you might have already answered this, but what would you say is the main thing for us to focus on in this season for this year?
The main thing, use your voice, speak up.
I love that.
Don't be silent. Speak up, collaborate.
Yes, I love that. Okay. Use your voice and speak up. That's it. So how can stakeholders partner with you on these goals?
We're on social media. Please sign up for our newsletter. We have a resource guide. I know there's information in the back, but I love engaging with the community. I love tabling at events. So invite us to attend events. If you want to have small groups, let us know what your issues are. I know not everyone is comfortable with meeting virtually, so definitely open to meeting in person. But just know that my office is committed to hearing from all of you, to partner and to problem solve. And want to acknowledge my chief of staff, Alex Boscovich, is here. And we're just really committed to doing whatever we can to improve the lives of every senior, anyone living with a disability. The immigrant, I wanted to highlight that too. Yesterday, I did pledge $50,000 towards the CLIP hotline, which is going to go live February 17th.
Wow.
So if you know anyone within our community that's an immigrant or refugee and has any concerns about ICE, anything going on in the community, they can call this hotline and get accurate information from local attorneys. So I think the main thing is to not live in fear, to make sure you get accurate information. I'm really disappointed even in our local news outlets. I've caught like 5 errors in the last 2 weeks. So it just really unfortunate that so much misinformation is out there. So it's really it's important that we take time to be educated and go to trusted sources and fact check. So it's really important that we have this hotline so people can get accurate information and not live in fear.
That is awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And the information that she shared, there was a flyer in the back. So when you guys are heading out at the end, she does have some more of those flyers. So we're going to transition to the question and answer section. Anyone that has written down any questions?
And I just wanted to make a comment too. I see Laura here with Spectrum Community Services and just wanted to thank your agency. It's something that I haven't thought about in a long time, but you were actually my first placement as a college intern. And so I really owe a lot to my professional career for Spectrum giving me that opportunity. So just want to encourage all of you. The workforce is so important. So if there's any way to get a college student, high school student exposed to the work you're doing, please do that, because we need people that deeply care about our elders to continue to work in these professions. So I just want to give a shout out to Spectrum. And this is when you're on Grove, the building that no longer exists. Yeah.
Okay. So do we have any questions? Did anyone write any down? Oh,
Just a quick one. Can you repeat the name of the hotline?
Yes, it's a CLIP. And let me tell you what it stands for, because it's one of those long acronyms.
yes.
It is Alameda County Immigration, Legal, and Education Partnership. The acronym is ACILEP, ACILEP. And that hotline will go live on February 17th. And if you follow me on social media, we'll be sure to post that information and we'll keep you apprised of any updates. I do have to leave here shortly because there's a meeting regarding this at 11. So we have to be prepared for that. And then in addition to that, my newest colleague, Supervisor Fortunato Bass, is going to be spearheading an ad hoc committee to basically combat, prepare, address any negative impacts that we are anticipating from the federal administration. So that board letter is coming forward, and we're hoping to have the first meeting sometime in February. So please look out for that information. We want to hear from everyone, any community that is at risk. We all are basically, all of our vulnerable communities. This is another opportunity to mobilize and let your voices be heard with an ad hoc committee. And then ultimately, those policy decisions will have to go to the full board. But we're definitely being proactive and making sure that our community is supported.
Awesome. Thank you.
Question over here.
Yeah, my name's Michelle Rousey. And I think a lot of times we forget about that transportation is a part of our long-term services and supports that is overlooked. And we're looking at major cuts to transportation on a whole around the state. And is there anything that's being done locally and or statewide that can help our transportation system? Because we're looking at cuts to our local transportation, which impacts our seniors and people with disabilities, and it also impacts our paratransit services, which is vital for people to get to their doctors and get food and other things. Is there anything being done?
Yes. So I actually serve on Alameda County Transportation Commission. So we're strong advocates for Measure BB funding to make sure those services are intact. And then also, I know the city of Hayward on Tuesday, they're going to have a work session item to discuss the potential cuts to the Capitol Corridor. And people from Krill have reached out to me and told me if they remove the station, the Amtrak station in Hayward, that's going to create a significant challenge for people that use Amtrak to go advocate at the Capitol. There's so much dependency. We need to get to Sacramento easily. And if we remove that station, that's going to create a barrier. So if you're concerned about that, I would highly encourage you to call in or attend that meeting on Tuesday. I believe it's 7:00. We are posting that on my website as well. So again, just make your voices be heard. And if there are any potential cuts, I will be advocating to minimize those cuts on Alameda CTC. And I know I could speak on behalf of Hayward City Council because I served on that body less than 2 years ago. They're very, very committed to senior services and have also have a lot of innovative services in terms of supplementing paratransit.
Awesome. Any more questions?
You guys are making this too easy.
I know. Going once? All right. We have one in the back.
In the back, straight.
So my name is Iracema, and I'm a former educator, now a social worker. And I was part of the movement to create a sanctuary city in Hayward. And one of my curiosities is that there's been several attacks on sanctuary cities in particular. And I was wondering if you have any recommendations for us that are worried about the impacts on our cities and how we can not only stay focused and involved and engaged, but also continue to educate our people and anything that we can do to continue to support the funding and also the services for sanctuary cities.
Yeah. So there's a lot of Know Your Rights workshops going on. Again, you could find that information on my website, on my platform. We highlight that. So I would just encourage you, connect with your friends, your family, your neighbors, anyone that you know that is vulnerable and worried, let them know about those resources. I think that's really important to lend that support and to advocate within your local cities. I don't know for certain, but I'm based off memory. I think almost every city in Alameda County declared either sanctuary city status or compassionate. Some use different language, but really research the city you live in to find out what their status is. I can tell you that Hayward is a sanctuary city. I know that Union City is a compassionate city. The county did a resolution back in, I believe, 2017. So this ad hoc committee, one of our focus is going to be is to reaffirm those commitments because it's, people don't recall what happened years ago. So that's going to be one of our priorities. We already know from local law enforcement and our sheriff, they do not participate and coordinate with ICE. So again, it's about having accurate information and make sure you're sharing that with others. But ACLIP is also going to launch a website. So all of that information will be housed in one platform, so it'll be easier to disseminate accurate information.
I was thinking about right now, not the political landscape. Many seniors and those who have transitioned from homelessness to housing are in need, if they have to vacate their premises to have repairs done. Are there any programs that assist seniors to help them pack or relocate their properties to storage facilities, or someone that can help them do things so that they don't injure themselves? That's the first thing, because there's, especially homeless population is a growing number. But there's a lot of seniors that also on a general basis need help sometimes in their homes. And so we, to prevent injury, that's the first thing. Second question is, this, I guess it's two-part. Second part is, many, as a grassroots person, many people who have transitioned from homelessness, specifically seniors, and have gone into housing and have been left in the housing without any assistance in how to retrieve their properties, any funding from various resources. Where would they go? Because this is not like it's on 211 or, any of those sites like that. It's a very kind of gray area, but it's widely needed. Not only here, I'm an Oakland resident, not only here in Oakland, I get calls from Berkeley, I get calls from Haywood, I get calls from San Leandro, and it's a lot of people in need. So I was wondering, is there any assistance for that particular area? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So what comes top of mind is, first goal and priority is to prevent our elders from being unsheltered, right? We need to do a better job to make sure no one is put in that place. So that's number one. Unfortunately, we're not there yet, right? We know the housing crisis. We know the Bay Area, the cost of living. So to answer your question specifically, I'm not aware of an organization that does that work, but what I would suggest is connecting with local nonprofits as well as faith community. Often there's volunteers, they're willing to lend the support. So it's a good thing that you're raising it. It's something obviously we need to figure out how to address that, but I'm not aware of a specific program that does that. If you need assistance with furniture and belongings for your home, there is a program called Make It Home. They're actually Marin County, but they serve Alameda and Contra Costa County. I think that's where care management comes in, right? If you are eligible to receive those services, someone to connect you with additional resources to prevent further displacement or institutionalization. But you're raising a good point. So I think that's definitely something we have to figure out how to meet that need. My aunt is the main caregiver for my 96-year-old grandmother and her sister who's 70 that struggles with Parkinson's. So that's the caregiver that I provide respite caregiver to. But she could not provide this care without, I'm not the only respite caregiver. We're lucky we have a large enough family and we could only commit to so many hours or days per month. That's still not enough. So I think it's really important to do everything we can so a senior is not isolated, so they have a support system, friends, neighbor, church, nonprofits. We have to expand the support system so people can step in and help someone in need like that.
We need more resource books for the
hard
elderly.
copy, no technology. Yes,
That's right.
That's right. Yep.
That's correct. Thank you.
No, you're right.
You looked into the possible cuts for veterans, Supervisor Márquez?
I have not. I do know that we're in the process of moving the veterans offices to Hayward. I know that that's in the works, but I've been advocating more on the GSA side in terms of renovating our veteran buildings throughout the county. But I have not been aware of any cuts. I think we need to do a better job in this county. I did visit Santa Clara County, and the service model that they have is very impressive in how they help veterans. So definitely want to bring some of those best practices here to Alameda County. I think we could definitely be doing more.
Very good. Thank you.
And I know the words escaping me, stand down. I know they've done a couple of those, so would love to do one of those in Central or South Alameda County. I believe they've been done in the past, like at the fairgrounds and in Oakland. But I think it's important that we make that accessible as well and move it throughout the county. And this past Tuesday, there was a resource fair at the Coliseum Arena. And there was over 100 vendors there connecting people to services. So that's a great model that social services did this past Tuesday. I think that's something that we could replicate and make sure that we're meeting the needs of all the veterans in our county.
And we have one last question here from Kevin.
Well, I just wanted to say that to everyone here who's talking about where seniors can go and get help, St. Mary's Center is one of the only nonprofit that cater only to seniors 55 years and up. So if you need help with anything, come over here and holler at us.
Yeah. That was a great way to close out. Thank you so much, Supervisor Márquez. We appreciate your time, efforts. Like she mentioned, there is information in the back table. Please reach
Hard
out.
copy, no technology.
Yes. She's listening. So we have the hard copies. It's online as well. So all that information is available. And thank you so much. If we can give her a round of applause for her time and insight.
Thank you. Thank you, Monica.